Hi, and welcome to this vocabulary lesson because we are going to look at synonyms, collocations in context, and words that belong in the word family. I hope you'll stick around with me every single day, learn these 3,000 words with me. Off. So off can act as an adverb, a preposition, an adjective. It's primarily a preposition, which means it is part of many phrasal verbs. Off can also be a verb of its own, and we're going to get into all those different uses and meanings today. Off can mean bad, it can mean unused, it can mean vacant or idle, it can mean inaccurate or incorrect. Off quite literally means to take something, to remove. That's take off. You can remove. If I'm moving in a direction from here to here, then it's off, but also this is off. The light is on or the light is off. I can turn it off. So do you see how when I was trying to explain what off is, I used several different phrasal verbs, all of which have this idea of removing or deleting or stopping. There are sometimes off can mean small or slim. As a verb, in a slang sense, it can mean to assassinate someone or to murder them. So if we're talking about turning or switching things off and on, this is a phrasal verb, to turn off. It means to stop a machine or a device. We have turn off the lights, switch off the TV, turn off the computer, shut off the water, or power off the device. Power off is very similar to power down. For example, please turn off the lights before you leave, or she switched off her phone during the meeting. It means to stop something from working. The way this works is we have the verb and then the adverb off and then an object. You have to turn something off. If you say I'm turned off, that means that you feel kind of disgusted. You're no longer excited about something. That's without the object. But with the object, it means to stop it from working. Turn the radio off or turn off the radio. Both are correct. I want you to notice something about where the object is placed when you have a phrasal verb. The object, if it's the word, can be placed before the off or after the off. For example, turn off the computer or turn the computer off. But if instead of saying computer, you want to say it, you can only put it in the middle. Turn it off. You cannot say turn off it. We really don't like to end our sentences with a pronoun. So we would say turn it off. It separates. Off can mean to leave the ground. For example, take off or to remove clothing. So an airplane rises into the air. It takes off from the runway. The plane takes off. It was a smooth takeoff or it's a delayed takeoff. That means a departure from the ground. The plane took off at 7:30 a.m. Notice on this one, there's really no object. The plane took off. The plane is the subject, not the object. And we also have the other meaning of take off, which is to remove your clothes, accessories, take off your shoes, take off your coat, take off your sweater, take off your hat. And this one, you can have the object in the middle or at the end. For example, please take off your shoes. You can also say, please take your shoes off. So we take something off. Remember that you could say take off your jacket or take your jacket off, but you cannot say take off it. You would say take it off. We also have time off or take time off. Okay, so if you have something off, it means that it is not on. It is not happening. Usually that's something that's normal. You usually don't. Or say, for example, you usually work, but if you have a weekend off, then it means that you don't work during that time. So we have a day off or we take time off. We get the afternoon off. You can be off to work. So this is now a different meaning. So be off work without the to. Be off work means to not be working. But to be off to work means you're leaving to go to work. So that's an interesting little, I'm off to work. That's something I might say to my family before I leave the house to go to work. But if I say I'm off work, then it means that today I'm not working. We might have the weekend off. I have Friday off. That means I don't work on Friday. She is off work today because she's sick. He took 2 weeks off to travel. So the pattern here is off functions as a preposition or an adverb. It describes the absence of a normal activity. And the pattern is to have or to take and then a period of time and off. I have Mondays off. We have 3 days off. To be off. She is off work or off school. If I am off and I'm talking about not working, I have to say work or school because, and we'll see it a little bit later, to be off means to have something not quite right. Off can mean incorrect, unusual, or not normal. If something feels wrong, strange, or different from what is expected, then you might say something is off. It can feel off, it can look off, it can be a little off or slightly off. For example, something feels off about this situation. This soup tastes a little off. His explanation sounds off. That means there's something wrong here. I don't quite know what's wrong, but something about this is wrong. It feels a little off. Here, off is used as an adjective after a linking verb. Okay, so some common linking verbs that you might say are off are be. You could say, oh no, that was a little off. It means something about that's not quite right. I don't understand what's wrong. Feel off. It feels off to me. Seem off or look off. It smells off. You probably don't want to eat it if it smells off. It tastes off. It sounds off. Now, maybe somebody's idea doesn't sit right with you. It sounds off. Or maybe someone played a wrong note in their piano piece. Something was off. It sounded off. The plan seems off. There's something wrong there. The milk smells off. We use the phrase off the top of my head or offhand. If something is off the top of your head, offhand, off the cuff, then it means that you're saying, I have not thought this through completely. I'm just thinking out loud. Off the top of my head, I think there are about 500 students. I did not check to make sure. I just know it's around that number. I don't know the exact number, but off the top of my head, I'd say around 100. So this is an idiomatic adverbial phrase, and it means I didn't check the number. I'm just thinking. Off the top of my head, I can name 3 famous painters. So if I'm going to name 3 famous painters off the top of my head, I might say Picasso, Van Gogh, and Rembrandt. Those are 3 famous painters. Now, I know more painters than that. Notice they were all European. That's because that's the art I've studied. So I couldn't really name an Asian painter off the top of my head. Maybe I need to study that so that I can also just name those painters. It does not literally mean something comes off of your head. It means that information is currently in my memory. To be better off. To be better off is to be in a better situation, usually financially or emotionally, after something happens. And we use this in a hypothetical situation a lot of the time. You'd be better off saving your money instead of buying that car. I gave advice. You'd be better off saving your money instead of buying that car. Would you be? I don't know. It depends. For example, my daughter wants to get a job that is about a half an hour drive away. There's no bus that goes there. She can buy a car so that she can get to the job, or she can choose not to take the job and find a job closer at home. What would she be better off doing? Maybe getting a job closer to home, except that job that's a half an hour away is something she would really, really be good at and she'd love. So maybe emotionally, she'd be better off taking the job and buying a car. You have to weigh the balance. After leaving that stressful job, she was much better off. So you have a subject, then be, and then you have better off, okay? You are better off waiting. And notice this is a noun. This is used. Okay, so here we have you are waiting. This is a present continuous. You are better off waiting. So you're using the verb in a present continuous for this one. We are better off without that company. This is a preposition, the without that company. We are better off without that company. So it's kind of a comparison here. We're saying with the company, you're like this. Without the company, you're better. The phrase better off functions like an adjective describing someone's condition. We have the phrase go off. Now, to go off means to explode. And you can explode verbally. I don't know, he just went off and told everyone what he really thinks. But to go off the deep end now means to have an extreme emotional or irrational reaction. She went off the deep end when she found out about the mistake. Don't go off the deep end just because one person criticized your work. To go off without the deep end means to explode. To go off the deep end is an idiom, and it means to just kind of explode without thinking and probably make a bad choice. They're going off the deep end. They're jumping into something they can't handle. To no longer be responsible for a problem. You are off the hook. Okay, so this is a hook and this is a fish. Right now the fish is on the hook. Let's make the fish bigger. The fish is on the hook and now the fish got free. The fish is off the hook. You are no longer responsible for a problem, an obligation, or a punishment. The teacher let him redo the assignment, so he was off the hook. If Sarah pays for the damage, we're off the hook. We're no longer responsible for whatever that damage was. And to brush something off is to ignore it, to dismiss it or refuse it, to let it bother you. It doesn't bother you. She brushed off his criticism and continued working. He brushed off the question because he didn't want to answer it. To brush something off is just, you can do it, for example, if you brush off criticism or to brush off their judgments, that's kind of healthy. But to brush off a question because you don't want to answer, that's avoidance. To brush something off. You just don't want to pay attention to it. You dismiss it or you ignore it. The opposite of off is on. The verb is off. The adjective is off. And the adverb is off, used in all those different ways. The off for the verb is to murder someone. And this is a very colloquial usage. You can off someone, means you just murder them or assassinate. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Research shows that if you know 3,000 words, then you can pretty much say anything you need to say. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.